I am back again with another myths video, and I think this is going to be my last one. So if you haven't watched the other two myths videos, I will link them above. But if you're new to medical billing or you're new to starting a medical billing business, then learning about the myths of medical billing can be beneficial for you to make sure that you have a successful time in the field, a successful business. And speaking about business, if you're trying to start your medical billing business, be sure to download my 12-step guide. It is free. You just need to enter your name and your email address. The link is in the description box, and I will give you the 12-step guide to starting your medical billing business with confidence. And a shout out once again to my channel members. If you are not a part of my channel, please make sure that you do. You can press the join button next to the subscribe button. Check out all the benefits that you can get depending on the level of membership that you choose, to include lives, videos that others don't see, only members see. And I actually uploaded one of my recent storytime videos. So if you're interested in hearing some story times, I have a few of them on the membership channel already. Then make sure that you join. I give you some tidbits and some stories, stuff that can help you out when it comes to starting a medical billing business and being in the medical billing field. So make sure you check that out. Now, myth number one is that the software handles everything. Oh my goodness. If this myth was true, I would be in medical billing heaven. I say this because many people believe that the software handles everything. And I think that's because the software companies try to make you believe that. They always tell you that, oh, this is, the best software to get. We do A, B, and C for you. We make it so easy, just a click of the button. And don't get me wrong, softwares have improved greatly. Of course, with AI and all the other features of technology, the softwares have improved. However, humans like me and you will always be required because the software is just a computer. Someone can program what it is that, they want the computer to do, but they might not program everything, or not that they might not program everything, they don't program everything. They can't figure out every single scenario that's going to happen in order to have that program do that specific thing. So there will always be humans that are needed. For example, we used to post payments by hand, manually, and we would have to type them in individually. Now, certain softwares that you use, you can post payments automatically. You can click the button, press post, it'll choose all the patient's date of service, and then you can post payments. However, there are always things that you have to review when you're posting these payments. So when I first started to do it automatically, I was kind of skeptical because I was used to doing it manually myself. But then I started to do it automatically. It was helping me really well with posting payments. But then I would notice if I had an ERA that the insurance took back a certain amount and then they paid a certain amount, the computer didn't know what to do with that. Or I was noticing that if it was a secondary payment, I would post it and then there would be a credit. And I would want to know why, because I knew that there was only a $30 balance left and the secondary paid $30, but then there is a $50 credit. So then I had to go back and look at the patient's account and I would notice that they also posted another adjustment. All of this is because the computer is not human. The computer doesn't use logic. The computer doesn't understand, well, an adjustment was already made and I don't need to make another adjustment again. There are just always going to be times when you need to fix something, even though the practice management system says that it does it for you. So my recommendation to you for this myth is to always look back and make sure that what the computer posts, what the computer sends out, or what the computer does in general, you always overlook it and make sure that it's being done correctly. The software really helps sometimes. It can speed up certain things in your duties as a medical biller, but it does not do everything for you. You still have to use your brain and manually do stuff sometimes. So make sure that you don't think that the software is going to do everything. There's not going to be a software that does everything for you. Myth number 2 is that if a claim is denied, that it's not worth appealing, or you want to just go and appeal it right away. If a claim is denied, you first need to figure out why it was denied. A lot of times I notice that medical billers do one of two things. If a claim gets denied, they may just say, well, the claim was denied, the payer didn't pay, what can I do? And they let it go. They write it off, they adjust it, they do whatever they have to do to make the claim amount a zero balance. That's not the right way to go. Then on the other hand, I might see a biller say, well, the claim was denied, I'm going to send an appeal. I'm going to send this notes and that notes and this records and that records to make sure that this claim gets paid. That's not the way to go either, because if you get 50 claims that are denied, then you're going to be sending 50 set of notes, and it takes a lot to send notes and do all of that stuff. There needs to be a middle ground in between this. So when you get a claim that's denied, you need to first figure out why it's denied, or if it's denied or rejected. Let me use that term. If it's rejected, you don't want to automatically send medical records, because when a claim is rejected, for the most part, it hasn't even reached the payer yet. So you're going to be sending medical records for something that the payer hasn't even gotten yet. And if it's denied, you might be sending medical records because you think that's what they want, but they don't actually want the medical records. They denied it because the patient was not covered. They denied it because the diagnosis code did not have enough numbers or characters in order to be relevant. So, they had to send it back, or they denied it. There can be so many reasons why a claim is denied. So sending medical records just off the bat, or saying to yourself, no, I'm not going to do anything, is not the right thing to do. So after you find out what the denial or rejection reason is, then you are going to determine what it is that you need to do. I have been doing billing for almost 20 years now. And to be perfectly honest with you, I can probably count on my hand how many times I've actually sent an appeal. Because there's something different between an appeal and a corrected claim, or an appeal and just resubmitting the claim. Maybe sometimes billers use the term incorrectly and they say appeal a lot, but an appeal is something completely different than just sending out a corrected claim, or sending a new claim, or sending the claim over again. An appeal is when you have actually gotten a claim that was denied. They are not going to change their response, or they're not going to change why they denied it. Then you need to prove to the insurance company the reason why they need to reverse that denial. So like I said, there are plenty of times I have just called the insurance company and I told the representative to have this claim reprocessed because it is not a part of the global package. Maybe it has a modifier on it telling you that that's not a part of the global package, and my claim has been paid without having to do an appeal, send notes, do all of those other things. So you don't have to jump to the fact that, number one, you have to do an appeal, or that, that you always have to do an appeal, or that you're going to write it off because, it's not worth it. I'm not going to do an appeal. You just really need to assess and analyze the reason for the denial, and then determine after that what you need to do to get the claim paid. Now, don't forget to schedule your remote one-on-one with me if you have any questions in reference to starting your medical billing business with confidence. I have talked to many women who have been in the medical billing field for years. However, when it's time for them to start their medical billing business, they're just unsure, and they need someone to give them that little motivation, or to let them know certain steps that they should be taking, or if the steps that they are taking are the correct steps to take. So if that is you, make sure you schedule a remote one-on-one today with me. We can talk, chat, I can help you out, and you can start that medical billing business that you want with confidence. And myth number 3 is that you can use the same billing rules with each and every payer that you bill to. Now that is for sure a myth. Now, don't get me wrong, there are billing foundations. I always talk about these foundations of billing, stuff that pertains to everything. However, when it comes to a insurance company or a payer paying for claims, Each insurance company has their own set of rules and policies. For the most part, a lot of the payers use the policies and the rules and requirements that Medicare uses. So if Medicare does something or doesn't do something, then they usually follow the same suit. But that doesn't mean that they're definitely going to do it, and it doesn't mean that they're going to do it right when Medicare does it. So if Medicare comes out with a new modifier or a new way to use a modifier in January of 2025, the other payers may adapt this same modifier rule, but they might not adopt it until 2 years later, a year later. You just need to keep up on each payer's rules and their guidelines. They also have different requirements as far as how they may receive claims, how they may pay out for claims, the time spans in their payments. Payers basically do things the way they want to and the way they have it set up. Again, they may adapt to other payers such as Medicare, which is a big payer, and so they might adapt to that, but they don't always have to. So just because Medicare pays for something, United Healthcare might not pay for something. I have seen where most of the insurances pay for something, but then the one insurance might not do that. So be sure that you're aware of all the different payer policies, their requirements, their rules. Go to their websites. Anytime they have any bulletins or newsletters, make sure you sign up to them so that you can see anything that they have that is new or that they've created or brought out or anything. Make sure that you stay up on that, because you don't want to say that, oh well, I know that Medicare requires this, and then you do it for another payer and they deny that claim. So what is a myth that you have heard of but I haven't mentioned in any of my 3 videos? Leave that myth below so that we can talk about it and give you the truth about that medical billing myth. I'll see you again in my next video.